He texted me saying, "You're being weird. I'm not here to play games." I was like, honey, I'm not playing games. It was the worst night of my life.
I'm Andrea Gunning.
And I'm Ben Fetterman.
And you're listening to Dating Diaries, Questions and Confessions.
So you're officially moved home, Dre. How you feeling?
It was a weird summer, not like a typical summer down the shore, but we made it work. I'm actually oddly happy to be home. I will miss my morning beach walks, but I'm ready to get back into some sort of normalcy.
Well, your welcome home present is some great stories this week. Where should we start?
Elena is a super social and outgoing chick that works in the entertainment industry. As a gay woman, she says it's tough to meet the one in person.
Before pandemic, I literally went out every single night. I was never home. I always went to concerts with my friends or went out dancing with my friends. But with that being said, as a gay woman, it's really hard to actually meet someone in person because I assume everyone's straight. And I would never have the balls to go up to a woman and be like, "Sup, let me buy you a drink." So I would go out a lot and do like a lot of eye flirting. But when it came to actual dating, I just used all the apps like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. I used it all.
But when she's on the dating apps, Elena has the confidence to go after what she wants.
She reached out to me on Hinge first, which is really surprising for me. I'm normally the person that reaches out first because I'm like, I got to shoot my shot. If not now, when? I'm not waiting for someone to message me first. But I wrote, "I'm grateful for Halloween," and she commented on that. And I'm like, wait, you're pretty and you like spooky things? Okay, I need to talk to this girl. So we started messaging each other. And then from there, we had our first virtual date, which I've never done before. It was terrifying, but it went really well. We talked for like 2 hours, which is more than I would do a real date. Like a real date, I always do drinks first because what if you're a serial killer? What if we have nothing in common? What if it's painful? But the fact that we talked 2 hours, it was exciting. I thought it could be the start of something.
There's nothing better than those giddy feelings after a first date. It always leaves you wanting more. And then Elena got her second date.
We decided, let's go on a social distance walk. I get all dressed up for my date. I realized my mask was not going with the outfit, so I had to change the outfit to match the mask. This is the world we live in. And I also put on makeup for the first time in months. So we go on a walk, and it was really cute. We took off our masks soon into the date because you're like, it kind of felt silly. We're already in each other's proximity, and we just went for a walk down the pier, and it felt like a first date. Like, I think there's fireworks too in the background. She was like, "I planned that." And I'm like, stop.
Everything seemed to be going in the right direction. She was even introduced to her friends.
After the Zoom call and after the social distance date, she invited me over her place, and I felt comfortable just because I feel like I knew her at that point. And she was like, "Hey, my friend Mark's here. Do you mind?" And I'm like, no, because I was kind of excited that she wanted me to get to know her friends, because I feel like in my last so-called relationship, that really wasn't a thing. Like, I was kind of off to the side. So the fact that she wanted me to meet her friends, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I would love to meet him. He was an absolute sweetheart.
Then things started to take a turn. Elena's date just recently began to explore her sexuality. So with her male friend around all the time, Elena was uncomfortable.
It became an issue when we'd make plans to go over her place, and then I would get there and he would already be there, and she didn't tell me about it. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, but I guess it's cool. They're neighbors. She lives by herself. She likes having that companionship, and he's a really nice guy. And then one night for me, it got weird. We were watching a movie really late, and it's all three of us. And then she was like, "Do you want to spend the night? Do you want to sleep over?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great," because it's pretty late at this point. I assumed because what's his name lived around the corner, he would just go home. But he spent the night too. Me and her went to her bed upstairs, and then he crashed downstairs. First, that was kind of like a red flag to me. I'm like, that's weird. She recently came out, was bi, and I'm pretty sure I'm the first girl she actually like talk to in a dating sense. And I felt like if she was on a date with a guy, none of that happens. She would have felt uncomfortable with the situation, or the other guy, he wouldn't have imposed as much.
Elena had to get her feelings off her chest. She wanted more one-on-one time.
So I texted her a couple days later, hey, I just want to let you know, I really like you and I really want to get to know you more. I love meeting your friends and everything, but like, I really want to get to know you more. And she was like, oh no, I totally get it. I don't know where I am in my life right now. Things are pretty crazy, but I like you too. So I thought that was promising. And I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe that was just like a one-off thing.
But it turns out it was a bigger issue than Elena thought.
After I tell her I want to get to know her more, she invited me to hang out. She was like, hey, do you mind if we go over to so-and-so's place? They're having taco night. Afterwards, we can watch a movie, have some wine, and chill. And I'm like, oh my God, that's perfect. She heard me. We're making this work. So we go over, we hang out with the guys, we play a board game, and then we went back to her place. And I'm like, great, we're having our alone time. It's getting late in the night, and it's 11 o'clock at this point. And she looks over to me. She was like, oh, so-and-so is going to come over. And I'm like, wait, what? It's 11 o'clock at night. I thought we were on a date. Like, I'm not your friend. And she was like, do you mind? And I was so caught off guard in the moment. I just want to be chill with everything. So I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But like, it wasn't fine for me. So him and his friend come back over, and then I just left. We texted about it the next day, and she was really apologetic. She was like, sorry if things were weird. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff in therapy. I just don't know where I stand with things. And I'm like, girl, that's so valid, but I just felt stupid, and I hate feeling stupid like that. I try to be understanding because for me, sexuality is such a spectrum. So who am I to judge where someone's at in that journey? And it's such a personal journey to go through coming out. And I feel so bad, and I want to be the person to be there for her to help her unpack that. But that's not what she wants, clearly.
Elena is so adorable. There's something about her energy that I find really endearing and magnetic. I just think she seems like a really sweet person.
And seems to be on a mission to really find love.
I say dating's hard. I already am stressed out trying to make a connection with someone who I could probably assume is straight. I kind of get what she was saying, that she has to kind of live her life on the apps to feel comfortable with approaching people. That's got to be tough. Okay, so Elena meets this girl on an app. It's going really well. They seemed into each other. They had the nerves, the butterflies, all that. And then the whole, hey, do you want to meet my friends? Let's talk about this and unpack this.
Seems like an early move to introducing someone into your circle.
Like date 3 to meet a friend.
Feels early.
When is the appropriate date to introduce someone to your friends, do you think?
Date 5 feels too soon.
So date 6.
I could get behind date 6. Bring on the friends.
Everything else beyond that's a little shady. I had this happen to me last year. I went on 3 dates with a guy. Went really, really well. We had plans to go out to dinner, hang out, and a friend came in out of town last minute. And he was like, I'm going to go out to dinner if that's okay. Do you want to meet us at the bar afterwards? And I was like, oh, he's interested. Like, he wants me to meet his friends. That's really cool. So I went to the bar, and then I invited my friends. After that date, all of my friends were like, oh, I really like him. His friends were like, oh, I really like her. And I could just tell in his head, he was just like, this is moving too quickly. It's like, there has to be some kind of cadence to this that I need to figure out. So when Elena is confronted with, I have 2 or 3 great dates. Now she wants me to meet her friends. Like, she's starting to like introduce me to her life. It makes you think a little bit like, oh, she's actually really interested in me. But this situation is so strange. This girl has a friend, and she's inviting this friend over every time that Elena comes over. So in my head, I'm like, does this girl want a 3-way and is just passive aggressively going about it? Or is this girl triangulating? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, why is this guy sleeping over? He lives around the corner.
This would be like me inviting my best girlfriend over every time I have a date. Why would I do that?
Why would the guy come back?
I don't understand what is happening here.
Are they hooking up?
Maybe he's 100% the worst wingman of all time.
I mean, Elena's dealing with a really confusing situation because, one, I think you have someone who's just social and likes to hang out and have a good time. Two, you have a girl who's kind of exploring her sexuality and trying to figure out what is she looking for in a partner right now. And then three, she's not really clear and explicit with Elena about where she sees this relationship. I mean, she said the words that like, I don't know where I am with my life right now.
Why do people feel the need to say that?
It's a deflection. It's a, I don't know what I want, but I don't know for sure right now that what I don't want is you.
Oh God, that brings me to a place. I can't. I'm sure if this girl was like, listen, I have feelings for this guy. I have feelings for you. This is what I'm interested in. Like Elena could react to that. Or, hey, I have anxiety and, you know, I feel the need to always have people around. And I don't know. But there's like no information for Elena to go off of. So the only thing that Elena is seeing is there's a human being that's always around. And I give her a lot of props for sending that message to her and being like, listen, I really want to get to know you and I want to spend some quality one-on-one time. But like, why doesn't this person, you know? It's so bizarre. I just picture this guy in like an oversized white t-shirt, like eating like Burger King on this chick's couch.
And like doesn't say a word. He's just there eating constantly.
He's literally Kramer.
Just sliding through the door at 11 p.m.
I feel like to Elena, though, it's Newman. Eric works for a cannabis technology company in San Francisco. He's someone who always enjoyed casual dating and getting to know people. But now he's looking for something more serious.
I was a pretty active dater. I've had, I would say, 2 significant relationships in my life. I was in New York for college. It wasn't very busy in New York, to say the least. But when I got to San Francisco, it was a very different experience. I was kind of just like head first into dating and hooking up, everything. But I would say in the past 3 years of my life, I really slowed down everything and really was like, okay, I want a relationship. I want to build on something. Like I've had my fun. I really want to invest in someone and build on that over time and like go through the work together.
Little did he know his perfect match was right around the corner.
I was active on Tinder and we matched. I remember swiping and I was like, oh, he's cute. He was really my type, just like how tall he was, his skin tone. He had this nice nose. I love a nose. He looked very ethnic. He definitely had some Latino Hispanic in him. So that's like my vibe. And I was like, wow, hopefully we match. And I woke up and we did. And like he had already sent me a message and really were chatty right away. And then I gave him my number and we talked a lot. And I'm pretty quick to say whether or not we're going to meet in person. And I was like, do you want to meet this weekend? You know, do you want to move this to real life? And he did.
Their first date went so well, it lasted a full 24 hours.
So he sat down and I was like, oh no, he's really cute. And his voice, his energy, he was like nervous, but not really nervous, and had like really good questions right away, just really wanting to get to know me. I immediately felt comfortable. And in my head, I started to fantasize and like create these stories in my head, which I know is very human. But I was like, he is like boyfriend material, you know, like he's great. So the first date lasted 24 hours. He came over, we got bagels and coffee in the morning. We watched TV all day, hung out. Then we got like tacos that night and he took his like Uber home at like 9 o'clock on the following day.
The stay-at-home order was issued the very next day, which put their relationship into hyperdrive.
Our second date was a video call. And he basically told me, he's like, I really like you. That was a great date. I enjoyed talking to you. I would love to get to know you more. That following day, he came to pick me up, and I went to his apartment, and we quarantined together. I liked him, he liked me, and quarantining was going to mean two very lonely people wanting to be together and wanting to get to know each other. And so I think in many ways it was a very vulnerable statement for us. He's a great guy. He's taking care of me. I'm taking care of him. This feels really good. Sometime within the first month and a half to 2 months, we had the conversation of like, we're boyfriends now.
But their time together wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. They were dealing with some pretty heavy stuff.
He gave me like a heads up that a lot of him dating and even being on Tinder, all that was really new for him. And actively living as a gay man was new. He really let me know everything. Jeff was a Gold Star Jehovah's Witness, grew up in it, firmly believed in it. For people that don't know, it's an apocalyptic religion. So they are preparing themselves for what they call Armageddon. And they believe ultimately the world will end, but Jehovah and his witnesses will be saved. And it's really a controlled group in terms of like, there are a lot of rules. And so Jeff was not living a life of freedom. And so he just really started the motions to get out, which is difficult. He let his family know that he is going to live as a gay man. And the distance has already started. He's starting to be shunned in many ways. Friends that he grew up with that were considered his best friends are distancing themselves.
So while dealing with crisis in the world and their personal lives, they found comfort in each other.
Making these big decisions for his life and basically burning it to the ground for himself and his health and his freedom shows a lot of courage and character. And so that was a lot of my attraction to him. He's a good person. And we had tough days where he was very emotional and I would help him and soothe him. You know, I have had my past issues growing up, and so I have the space for him to do that without feeling overwhelmed. The world was in crisis on the outside, but like he was dealing with his own. I've read that there are 3 things that really build strong foundation for relationship. One, you have to be similarly educated. Not that you have to have both gone to Harvard or have the same degree, but you have to vibrate in the same realm of like understanding. 2, you have to be willing to want to work at the same pace and level at the relationship. And then 3, you have to have similar wounds. And I think that was really true for us because we both wanted to work on it. And I've gone through things and he's going through things, and we're both actively working on being better versions because of them. And we are better people because of them.
Let's cut right to the chase. Here's someone that is willing to take on baggage because he's done a lot of work.
Yes, but I don't know if he knew he was inheriting the baggage that he was taking on when he did.
Clearly not. I mean, they had a 24-hour date. The shelter in place order comes in. They're like, I guess we got to quarantine together.
Then you figure it out.
Yeah. And so they did. I love that exhilarating feeling of when you're like 10 minutes into a first date and you're like, oh, we actually have some chemistry.
Right, this is enjoyable. There's a flow here.
I mean, he very quickly was like, oh, this person's boyfriend material. Like, knows what he wants, was feeling the vibe, quickly into it. It's like, I'm going to take this person seriously. You know what I thought was funny? He's into noses. I've never heard someone say, I'm a nose guy. I've only had a reaction to a bad nose. A bad schnoz is a bad schnoz. I've never been like, man, that's a really great nose.
I'm not sure I could describe a great nose.
Maybe one day I'll see a great nose and
You'll call Eric and compare notes.
it'll all click for me. But this stopped me in my tracks. He said 3 things that really build strong foundation for a relationship.
I've probably heard each of these in different points of my life. I've never heard them categorized together. Similarly educated. Do I think it's 100% necessary? No. Do I think it helps? Yeah.
I kind of want to do away with the whole similarly educated and kind of want to use the Angela Duckworth idea of similar grit, because it's qualitative and it's quantitative, and it's the effort that you put into your life and what you consume and what you give back into society.
Education isn't necessarily what your degree is or what university you went to. It's more so where are you putting your energy out in life?
So the second is you have to be willing to want to work at the same pace and level at the relationship. I feel like this is what a lot of people are just trying to figure out.
If you have someone who's carrying more weight to try to keep the relationship going, that's not a recipe for success.
You know, you hear people say, I really want to take this slow. I just want to see where it goes. Do you think that works out? I legitimately am open and wanting someone to explain to me the benefit of taking it slow.
If there's a connection, why are you not jumping both feet in?
I just don't understand that slow choo-choo train. I just hear, I don't want labels. That stresses me out. I want flexibility of hitting the eject button and not having to go through the whole breakup conversation.
As you describe it, it's all anxiety.
I guess, yeah.
Why play games? There's no point. It's more attractive to know what you want than to play the, I'm not sure I'm in the right place for a relationship right now, but you're really cool.
Can't there just be a dating app where it's like, I'm only interested in 3 dates and hookingup.com? Like, can't we just get a little bit more like streamlined here?
Just categorize it for the phase of your life that you're in or that day you're in. Just move into a new category. Like you open the app, you say, this is what I'm interested in today. And you just change it.
Okay. Then you have to have similar wounds. So I'm going to need to find someone that dated someone for 3 years and moved to a country that's literally on the other side of the planet is what I like. I need to find someone whose girlfriend up and left and moved to Yemen. I need to find Chandler Bing.
I mean, I don't know if I fully subscribe to what he's saying, but there is some wisdom in it. I can see two people really relating over a similar wound and trying to heal that together.
I mean, to tackle quarantine is one thing. To tackle helping someone firmly plant themselves in their foundation of their identity and their sexuality, that's a whole nother thing. And then also someone who's grappling with leaving a religion, a community, and all of that, that's really heavy stuff.
Yeah, this is a lot.
Lauren's a children's entertainer. You know, those real-life princesses that show up to a party? Yep, that's her. She's also created a large following on TikTok by talking about her dating life.
It was the beginning of lockdown and people were saying, you should do TikTok, you'd be great. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I started doing the lip syncing ones. And then I did Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. I don't know if it's a popular film where you guys are, but I was running up and down my street dressed as an olive because it's very iconic on the movie. It got like 1.7 million views. And I was like, I'm just dressed as an olive. And so I was like, I quite like TikTok. So then I thought, I'm going to do more relatable things and just speak about what I'm going through.
How annoying are those girls that always have a boyfriend and you can never remember a time when your friend was actually single? Seriously, 3 dating apps I've been on. And don't even get me started on the girls that are my age that are engaged. How are you engaged?
I split up with my ex-boyfriend just before lockdown. So it's been a journey for me of living on my own, forwarding that as well during a pandemic without him. Then I thought, am I ready to date? So I tried the dating apps and I met one person just as lockdown was early days. I've met people after and they've not worked out. So not only have I gone through a very big breakup, it's not working out with any of the guys.
While Lauren was navigating this new dating world, she heard from an ex. He reached out on social media and she was excited to reconnect.
I thought maybe if I meet someone I've already met, I'll feel more comfortable, you know, that kind of thing. James, I knew him previously. We met while I was in college, so I was around about 17, 18. I was very young and I went to a house party and another crush was there that I liked and I kissed him. And I had to tell the guy that I was seeing, James, I had to say, oh, you know, I did do this. I was very drunk. And then he never spoke to me again. He never gave me a second chance. And 6 years later, he followed me on Instagram and I thought, I've grown up now. You know, I've done things with my life, so have you. Let's just see where this goes. He was like, look who it is. And I was like, oh, hey. But I really thought it would be nice to meet someone I'd already met. He had a great family and great ambitions and things, because ambition is a massive thing for me.
Lauren quickly learned that going back to an ex is never a good idea.
I gave it a go and possibly goes up there with one of the worst dates I've ever had. He was just meant to come round for a movie, which I don't normally do, and the only reason I did is because I know him. I said, yeah, you can stay over, we can chill, watch a movie, have a couple of drinks, it can be a really nice night. I put a film on, and he was like, I don't like this film. Really rude. And then I tried his glasses on, his glasses for his face, and I touched the lens by accident. I cannot believe you've just touched the lens of my glass. I'm gonna have to go to my car now and get the special cloth. It was awful. I'm like, come on, it's a pair of glasses. Can we get real here? I just was like, this isn't a first date. A first date, we should be laughing, watching a film, having a couple of drinks, and even playing games and things. I knew he had this arrogance of, I'm better than people, but it was never that extreme. This time it was quite in your face. I can't be in a relationship with this guy, he's crazy.
And Lauren wasn't the only one that didn't like this guy.
My puppy got quite ill that night. And I was like, this is brilliant. The dog's done it on purpose. I can use this as an excuse to get him out. Because Woody doesn't wee in the house, and he weed on the sofa right next to him. And I was like, he never does that. He weed on the guy he didn't like. You know, I just said, Woody's really not well. I know I said you could stay, but maybe you should just go home and we'll do this another night. Thinking, I'm never going to speak to you again. Ever.
She thought she was in the clear, but when this guy couldn't take the hint, she laid down the law.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't get him away for like at least a week. He was like so interested in me, and I don't know whether it's because I was like, bye. He was like, you know, I'm really sorry for being moody. Can we try again? I was going to ask if you wanted to come over because he's got like horses and things. You can come and see the horses. I was like, no braggery. He's going to get me on another date with you. I got 2 missed calls the night he went. And then the next day I got another call. And then I got an Instagram message saying, oh, posting on your story but not answering my calls. I didn't reply to that because I was anxiety ridden from the date. Then he texted me saying, you're being weird. I'm not here to play games. I was like, honey, I'm not playing games. It was the worst night of my life. You were moody, you were miserable. You shouted at me. The date wasn't for me, you're not for me, and I think it's best we leave it here.
This guy is such a square.
The men of years past seem to keep creeping in during this quarantine time. And she seems all about it.
Well, she seems open to reconnecting. And it is convenient that she knows this person, those nerves, that fear of a stranger. There's something nice about, oh, like you're a known entity. This could be nice.
And it seems like when they were together in the past, it just wasn't the right time. But, you know, I've grown up a little. I'm at a different point in my life. Maybe now's the time for us to connect.
So their first date is a complete and utter disaster. You know, she wants to do a movie. Like, things are going to go well for this guy if he plays his cards right. He just needs to lay low and he'll get laid.
This guy reminded me of the guy from last week with the check dance, who like had a total explosion over the girl wanting to pay. Like, she was being flirtatious. She was putting on his glasses. She was trying to bring a little lightness and fun to the date.
I've been in this situation where the person's like, I can't sit through this movie. It's like, what the hell? We're literally putting this on. We'll pay attention to it for 10 minutes. And then we'll probably start making out. There's a reason why I put on The Godfather. It's a long movie. There's a lot to be done. But I've been in this situation that Lauren's gone through, and you're just like, it's so rude. You can't just fake interest or learn something new or learn something about me by the movie that I'm choosing. And also, by the way, you dumbass, this isn't about the movie. We're probably going to start hooking up in like 15 minutes. This guy is wound so tight. Honestly, if that happened to me, I probably would be like, it doesn't seem like you're in a good headspace. Do you want to like reschedule this date?
I mean, she essentially did that.
No, she blamed it on the dog and hit the eject button.
The dog did bail her out.
The only thing I'll say to Lauren is that, yeah, this guy was rude as all hell. Has zero chill. I wouldn't be up for this. I just feel like she probably should have sent a follow-up text, or when he called, he'd be like, listen, I was thinking about our night the other night. I just realized this isn't for me. Best of luck with everything.
Let him know too. Like, you can't show up to dates that way. Like, you're not going to have a high batting average. I'll say that much.
It's good to be back home. It's good to listen to these stories. And after listening to Lauren, it just makes me excited to get my new dog.
I know, Dre. I feel like it's only a week or two away that we finally get to meet Mulaney.
I can't have the real Mulaney, as in the John Mulaney, so this little fluffy creature will do. At least one Mulaney will love me.
We're at least getting a new member of the Stepover squad. I just can't believe we only have 3 episodes left this season.
Don't remind me. But we do want to remind all of our listeners to continue sending us stories at datingdiariespod@gmail.com and follow us on social at datingdiariesqc. Until next week, stay safe out there, guys. This podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Andrea Gunning. Executive produced by Nancy Glass, Ben Fetterman, and Carrie Hartman. Produced by Julie Clark and Brianna Fars. Edited by Matt Del Vecchio. Thanks to production coordinator Megan Paisley. The show is mixed by Dave Saya. Special thanks to Mybe Music. Some names have been changed to protect privacy.